Hello, so the first thing you should do when you receive your new Yamaha P-225 is to check everything has come in the box, all of the accessories. There should, of course, be the piano itself. There will be a sustain pedal as well, like the one I've got on the floor just here. There will be a music rest, which I haven't got plugged into my one yet, but it looks just like this. And it slots in that slot you can see on the back, and it allows you to put your music on there, of course, or any smart devices that you have, or indeed your sandwiches. The other thing you should look for as well in the box is this little collection of leaflets. The first one is your user manual, very useful, although I tend to use the online manuals, which allow you to search, of course, for any relevant words or sections. There'll be a leaflet which links you through to Yamaha's free 3-month trial with Flowkey, a piece of learning software which is excellent, and I'm going to go into a little bit later on. On the other side, it's a link through to with a QR code through to the Yamaha Smart Pianist app, a great companion app as well there, which I'm going to go into in some detail as well. There'll be a form which allows you to go and register your piano, which you need to do if you're going to take advantage of that Flowkey trial. So make sure everything has come in the box, and of course the manual, the power adapter, so you can plug it in and turn it on, of course. So once you've got number one out the way, go to number two, which is going to be a hardware check. And the first thing I'd say here is just check that all the keys are working. And by working, I don't mean they're making a sound, although of course that matters too. It's more that every single key goes all the way through its travel and then returns back into the same spot. So once you've had a quick play, I'd recommend sliding the volume all the way down and then trying every single key and checking that every one is returning. You can push it down fully and it's going all the way back to the top, because there's a ever so slight small chance that in transit, of course, if you've bought it via a courier, that if some damage has taken place, it's good to spot these things. And like any electronic device that you buy, it's probably good to check it out fully before you really get into the playing. So for you beginners out there, if this is your first piano from playing a keyboard, if you're right at the beginning of your learning journey, middle C is something you're going to hear referred to quite often. And to find middle C on a Yamaha P-225 quite easily, if you look between the Yamaha logo here and the variation light on the right hand side, roughly bang in the middle is middle C. And of course this is going to be a reference point for all sorts of learning on the piano. And for beginners on this piano, I'd say don't worry so much about the advanced features for now, but one that's going to be very useful to you when you're beginning is the metronome feature on here. Metronome, if you haven't quite reached that stage yet, is a device which just allows you to play in time, to keep time, and it's built into the piano. Back in the olden days, we used to have a manual metronome that looked a little bit like a carriage clock or a traffic cone, and it had this little bar on it that you could set swinging, and it would tick, 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 and the idea is you'd play along with it. It's all built in now, and there's a metronome button which ticks along like that, and the idea is you keep in time with it. But it does have a few extra little features on here which are useful as well. The first is, of course, changing the speed or the tempo, and it's very easily done because there's some writing on the front panel of the P-225 where it says tempo, and what you can do is actually type in the beats per minute. By default it's set to 120, but let's say I wanted to set it to 99. I can hold metronome just here and actually type in number 9 twice, like this.
9, 9.
And this little voice goes 9, 9. Now when I play the metronome, it's a bit slower. And usefully, if you disappear at this point and go and make a cup of tea or something and you forget how you've set it and you want to check, quite usefully, rather than have to type it in again, if you hold metronome and you press the furthest key to the left, it tells you what it's currently set at, because of course there's no digital display on here to show you. So hold metronome, press the far left key.
99.
And this nice voice says 99 to remind you what it's set to. One other thing that's very useful with the metronome is, let's say you're playing a piece that's in 4/4 time, there's 4 beats in each bar. You can set a bell to go on the first beat of each bar, which is a really good sort of audible indication of when the first beat of the bar is. What we do is we hold metronome, and again on the panel there's a little bit of subtle writing that says beat, and then 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and in this case I'm going to hold metronome and press 4. Now when I start the metronome in this case, listen, because there'll be a bell on the first beat of the bar. 3, 4, bell, 2, 3, 4, bell, 2, 3, 4. So quite a useful audible indication of when the first beat of the bar is there. The sustain pedal, is it working okay? This is the pedal that comes with it. It's this little square thing on the floor, and if you haven't used a sustain pedal before, then let me just give a brief explanation of exactly what it does. On a traditional piano, you have strings on the inside of the cabinet, of course, and what makes those strings make a sound? Well, they're hit with a hammer that's on the end of a key that you've pressed. And without the sustain pedal, when you remove your finger from the key, the hammer retracts, and then the string is vibrating until something called a dampener comes and stops the vibration. So watch, I play, I'm not pressing the pedal, I play, and when I take my finger off, a dampener comes onto the string and stops the sound going. But the sustain pedal acts as a barrier. It stops that dampener returning to the string, so the string continues vibrating. So I hit it with a hammer, continues vibrating. Now what does that mean? It means the sound is sustained, hence the name sustain pedal. So with my foot on the sustain pedal, I play, and you hear the note carries on until I take my foot off, and that dampener goes on and it stops the sound. Now what this means is you perhaps make the sound sort of spill over into the other pieces of the other notes you're playing, and it gives a bit more of a fuller sound, allows you to play with a bit of emotion. So is the sustain pedal working? Now, one thing I need to point out, one of the funny little quirks about this piano, and often this is the case on Yamaha keyboards, is that if you've turned the piano on and then you've plugged the pedal into the usefully marked sustain socket, you might find that the pedal's actually working the opposite way that you want it to. That's to say, your foot is off and you play and the note sustains, and when your foot's on, you play and it doesn't sustain. So my advice would be, if you're going to plug the sustain pedal in, only ever do it when the piano is turned off. That way you can be sure that it's working the right way around. Now, if you're putting your foot on the pedal and you're playing and the note isn't sustaining while your foot's on the pedal, then you might have an issue there. The other thing I want to mention, quite important about this, this particular model, is you might have noticed me already kind of chasing around this pedal with my foot, because it's only a lightweight thing, and I'm going to have to do it with my hand. I tend to push it around because I use it quite a lot. I'm pushing it along the floor with my foot because it doesn't really grip onto the ground, not the carpet I'm using anyway, so I'm forever having to readjust it. So you might actually want to consider upgrading the pedal when you purchase this piano into one of the ones we have that look a bit more like a traditional piano with the metal bit on the front. The other advantage is they're heavier as well, so they do tend to sit there and stay in one place, which should be roughly where your right foot rests naturally as you're sat in the playing position. So number 3 is to register your piano with Yamaha for the free 3-month Flowkey trial. In the manual, as I showed earlier on, there's a leaflet in the box rather, and there's a QR code you can go to, but if you just Google Yamaha Flowkey trial, you'll be directed to the place where you can go and register your model with Yamaha and then get hold of this 3 months worth of Flowkey, which is a brilliant visual way to learn on your device, an iPad or iPhone, etc. Have it rested on the music rest, and you can literally see a video of someone's hands playing whatever piece of music you want to play, and it listens to what you're playing and tells you whether you're getting it right or not. It's very clever. One of the really good things about it is the extensive library that they have as well. Almost any song you can think of, you can search for on Flowkey and learn how to play it. So it's a nice way of sort of integrating modern tech like smart devices and learning the piano, rather than doing it in the very traditional open a book, learn how to read sheet music that way, which does of course have its benefits, but I find it's, using tech these days, it just takes away some of the barriers to getting you playing the type of music that you got into playing the piano for. So number 4 is personalise your P-225. And what do I mean by this? And again, I'm going to say here that on Yamaha's website for this model, if you go to the download section, you can get something called a quick operation guide. Now, it doesn't come in the box, this one, but I always have it open because it's such a good reference point. It shows you where the button combinations are for various functions and features, because they wanted to keep it looking very clean and tidy. So a lot of things are actually tied up in button combinations. So go on the website and either download that or to your device, or print it off maybe and have it nearby. And what I was going to say about this personalizing it is, if you're coming from a keyboard background and this is your first piano, if you're learning to play, you might find the sound a little bit intimidatingly sharp and loud. But there is something you can do about it fairly quickly, and that is by pressing the button that's lit up that says piano a couple of times, and notice what happens. These lights come on here, and what this is doing is it's giving you variations of the piano sound. The second variation is actually quite a bright one. But number 3 is very gentle and soft. So just using that piano variation just takes the edge off of it. So if you are a beginner, or indeed if you've bought this piano for a beginner, particularly a young beginner, that's quite a nice way to just get those timid hands to just not be so intimidated by the sound that it's making. There is something else you can do as well, and it's to do with what we call the touch sensitivity on these pianos. Now, what I mean by touch sensitivity is being the ability to, when I play gently, get a gentle sound, and when I play a bit harder, it gets louder and louder, and if I really attack it, we're getting a very loud sound. So that's touch sensitivity. It's something that this piano gives you. It's going to become very important to you as you're learning to play. But there are various degrees of touch sensitivity that you can alter here on the piano, and the way to do it, the terms they use are hard and soft. And to give you an example of what I mean, because I'm quite ham-fisted, heavy-handed on the piano, I quite like to have it set to hard, because what it means is I've really got to whack the piano to get it to a certain threshold of volume. So what I do is I hold piano, and these keys here, the C that's before the last C, if I press, in fact what I'm going to have to do is go to my what I mentioned, which was the quick reference guide, because this is telling me where the key combinations are. So what I've got is soft, medium, hard, and fixed. Now I'm going to show you what fixed is first of all. If I hold piano and press this, It makes a satisfying beep. Now it's taken the touch sensitivity off. So no matter how gently I play, I'm going to get the same sounds. So I'm playing as gently as I can. And now I'll play as hard as I can. Okay, but the sound is remaining fixed. Now, teachers out there will know that sometimes that's quite a useful thing if you've got a young child and they're very gentle on the keys, but you still want to get them to make a sound. And having it on fixed is quite good. But me, being Mr. Whack It probably too hard for my own good, I put it on hard, and this just takes the edge off for me. Now, you probably can't appreciate this right now at home because you're only listening to it. It's me, it's my fingers and my hands that can experience that I'm having to play harder to get the volume up. But that suits me because I do play quite hard. And the other end of the scale is having it on soft. And this is where you get a degree of touch sensitivity, but you don't need to play so hard. Okay, and let's return it to normal by pressing. Go into my quick reference guide again. That key there, hold piano, press that, beep, and it goes back to medium setting, which is what it's set to when you first take it out of the box, by the way. So next on my list is the transpose function, which if you're a beginner and you're watching this video, that might be a bit of an alien concept to you, but let me explain in brief terms what it is. I'm going to play middle C, and listen very carefully to the note that you hear. Okay, now I'm going to play middle C again, but I'm going to transpose the piano half a step upwards. Having to look at my quick reference guide to do so. All right, I remember how to do it. Okay, did you hear that? So this is how it used to be. Middle C. Now I'm going to transpose it half a step up. I'm still playing middle C. Okay? Now what's happening here is, although I'm playing the same keys, the pitch of the piano has been transposed upwards. And you can transpose it in either direction, and you can go more than half a step as well. Indeed, if I go a whole tone up, that's 2 keys up, now play middle C, the note we're actually hearing is a D. I'll put it back to normal and play a D. You hear that? And now I'm going to move it up and press C, and they're playing the same note. Now this has a very, very practical purpose. If you're playing piano and let's say you're playing accompaniment for a singer, or indeed just singing yourself, and you can't quite hit the high notes in a song, and you think, oh, I wish this was just a bit lower for me. But your pianist, or indeed yourself, you don't want to have to relearn a piece in a lower key. So you can use the transpose function to change the pitch of the piano up and down to suit you. So although you might not use it right now, that's how you do it. Because again, it's tied up, this function, in key combinations, because there's not enough room on the panel here to make those changes and to display those changes. So to return it to normal, hold metronome and rhythm together, where there's a little function thing linking those 2 buttons together, press middle C, and that puts it back in concert pitch. Okay, what's next on my list here? So transpose. Now stands, what kind of stand do you have? If you're planning on keeping your P-225 in one place, then I'd probably recommend the Yamaha L200 stand. And this is a wooden stand which turns the piano into something that looks like quite a nice piece of furniture. It's always going to be fairly compact by design, but with this wooden stand it looks like a nice piece of furniture. If you are planning on moving the piano around, going to play performances, gigs, whatever, or indeed just move it around the house, then something like a double-braced X stand, portable keyboard stand, is a good idea. That's what I've got it on here right now. Avoid the single-braced ones, by the way. You'll notice that they're a bit cheaper, but I think for a piano of this weight, you need double bracing there. It'll hold it steady, and also if you're traveling with it, the double braced X stands, they will fold up flat so you can put them easily in the back of a car for transportation. Incidentally, coming slightly back to the subject of pedals to do with stands, is you may have noticed that there's a 3-pedal unit option for this piano as well, called the LP1. If you want that 3-pedal option, you will be required to have the L200 stand because it fixes to the back of it. You can't have the 3-pedal unit on a double braced stand like this because there's nothing for it to fix to. Number 5 is connect your device. Now this is where it really starts to get quite fun with this type of piano, and it's becoming pretty standard, but the way that we play, or the way that I play anyway, is I stream a lot of music, whatever it may be, just listening to my favorite music, or whether it be tutorial stuff, whatever, and I play it through the speakers of the piano, and that's exactly what you can do with P-225. But it goes a bit further than that, because Yamaha, realizing that a lot of people like to integrate their devices with their pianos now, have developed an excellent, I mean truly excellent companion app called Yamaha Smart Pianist, which operates first and foremost as a controller. Coming back to saying how all the buttons and all the functions and features, including the different sounds that are available on this piano, like piano strings, organs, guitars, etc., they're all tied up in buttons here that you have to press multiple times. But the Yamaha Smart Pianist app gives you a very visual, a graphic display of the different instruments you're playing. And you can mix them together, you can save your settings, you can play with the EQ on them, and it's just very easy to do from your device. Another thing which really helps personalize your piano is, because you're using your own device, the Smart Pianist app can read your collection of music in iTunes or whatever it is you use, and it will actually analyze it and show you rudimentary sheet music and chords for it too. So you can really get your favorite songs on your device and play along, have it play through the speakers, and actually show you music at the same time. And that's the Yamaha Smart Pianist app, which is free to download, by the way. As for connecting it, the Smart Pianist app does require a cable to connect it. It can't be done wirelessly for these purposes. The cable does not come in the box. The reason being, I imagine, because there are so many different types of devices and connections on smart devices these days that who knows what you need, but they're easily buyable in plenty of places. So you connect it to the piano using a cable. There is wireless connection available from your device, but it's via audio. And what I mean is, if you're streaming music on Spotify, YouTube, wherever you stream your music from, you can very easily connect via Bluetooth your device and have it play through the speakers of the piano. And I'll just run you through how to do that now. You get your device and make sure your Bluetooth is turned on, and I'm going to go to my Bluetooth settings, pretty easy peasy. But the first time you do this, you're going to have to get your P-225 to pair, and it's very easy to do. These buttons here that say metronome and rhythm, if you hold them down, there's a little Bluetooth symbol just there, they'll start to flash. So hold these down, I think you do it for about 3 or 4 seconds, they'll both start to flash together, and that's indicated that the piano's Bluetooth is now pairing. And I look for it on my list of things, and when I find it, just connect, and that then allows me to go to, let's say, Spotify, and play my music from my phone straight through. Okay, a bit of Fleetwood Mac there, and I can then play along with it if I want to. Now, a lot of people ask us, talking about Bluetooth, whether they can connect their Bluetooth headphones to this piano. And the answer is twofold. One, no, because the Bluetooth on this piano is set to receive only, so it's not actually transmitting the signal of the piano, the sound of the piano, outwards into your headphones. While you could get a Bluetooth transmitter plugged into the headphone output, we still don't recommend it because there's a very small delay from you playing a note before it actually reaches your ear holes. And that slight delay can play havoc with your timing. So even if you do have the means, we still recommend you don't do it if you're learning to play, or if you're doing any sort of playing for that matter. Stick to wired headphones. They work just instantaneously and just what you need for this sort of playing. So that's been 5 things you should do with your new P-225. I hope it's been useful for you. If it has been, press the thumbs up icon below this video. It really helps an independent store like us get found here on YouTube. Thanks very much for watching. See you in the next one.